proceedings, or I have to see you for one further setting. Set for the hearing next week.
I'd like to know where the they got that photo of me with my short hair. Because that was on Facebook, and I don't have a Facebook.
First up is Bass Webb, 30-year-old charged with 2 counts of attempted murder at Bourbon County District Court in Paris, Kentucky. A week earlier, a surveillance camera captured Webb as he attempted to run over 2 prison officials attached to Kentucky jail, the place where he had served a 3-month term on assault charges. While one officer had managed to escape, another was pinned against the wall by the defendant's car.
30-year-old Bass Webb has been charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. This surveillance video taken outside a Kentucky jail a week earlier captured the moment when Webb accelerated his car and tried to run over 2 jail employees.
Webb wasted no time before showing his contempt for court officials in his first appearance.
There's no way I'm going to try this case, or have any further proceedings, or I have to see you for one further setting.
Webb responded with saliva.
Literally spit on the judge.
That would hardly be the last of it, as Webb, alongside 4 others, started a riot at the Fayette County Detention Center. In this surveillance cam footage, Webb is getting threatened with beanbag bullets. Unmoved by the rounds, including one to the neck, he taunts the officers.
After being shot with beanbag bullets,
He then responds by hurling a telephone box at the prison security.
Webb whips a metal telephone box at a corrections officer.
The court found Webb guilty of third-degree assault and sentenced him to 15 years behind bars.
Because this is capable of stopping that does not mean that that is not readily capable of causing death or serious physical injury.
Webb was found guilty of third-degree assault and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
For his motor vehicle attack on the jail staff, he was found guilty on 2 counts of attempted murder and was handed an additional 37 years, making a grand total of 52.
And for his attempt to run over the 2 jail employees, he was later found guilty of 2 counts of attempted murder and got an additional 37 years. Bass Webb was facing a total of 52 years behind bars.
Still, the account of Webb's criminal history was yet to be completely rendered. While serving his term, he pled guilty to another charge with the murder of his ex-girlfriend. Risking the possibility of a death sentence, he was instead sentenced to an additional 50 years.
He was charged with the unsolved murder of an ex-girlfriend. Facing a possible death sentence if convicted at trial, Webb pled guilty to the murder and got an additional 50 years.
Half a decade later, Webb was back in court for the decade-old murder of a different ex-girlfriend. He was implicated after a tip resulted in the discovery of a woman's remains.
Bass Webb is back in court yet again after being charged with the murder of a different girlfriend nearly a decade earlier.
This current version of Webb has added a new alarming feature. The tattoo on his head reveals a list of people, including judges and the media, who he's deemed fit to die. He's also engraved inappropriate words on the other side.
A closer look at Webb's recent head tattoos reveals a demented murder hit list. It reads, "Those that must die." Below that, 3 rats have been scratched out, and many more, plus an expletive on the other side.
The court sessions reveal that Webb had strangled his deceased girlfriend and hidden her body in a shallow grave. He ignored the judge's request to come forward, simply offering a smile in response.
Gruesome details emerge about how Webb choked his then-girlfriend to death, buried her body in a shallow grave. When the judge asked Webb to come forward, he remains seated and smiles.
Webb receives a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
Sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
Next is the Moore Justice Center at Brevard County, Florida. The presiding judge, John Murphy, requests that Andrew Weinstock, an assistant public defender, waive his client's right to a speedy trial due to a full court schedule.
2 charges, assault and resisting. You have the public defender. What do you want to do?
But they filed?
They have.
I'm not waiving.
All right, what do you want to do?
What do you want to do? I'm not waiting.
Weinstock is having none of it, and the matter escalates.
If I had a rock, I would throw it at you right now.
You know,
Stop pissing me off. Just sit down. I'll take care of it. I don't need your help.
No,
Sit
you know
down.
what? I'm the public defender. I have a right to be here.
Then something totally unusual occurs.
If you want to fight, let's go out back and I'll just beat
Let's go
your
out.
ass.
Without hesitation, both relocate to the hallway, out of sight of the cameras, and promptly get into it.
Believe it or not, they get into a physical altercation.
Judge Murphy then returns to applause in the courtroom, attempting a joke about his age.
I will catch my breath eventually. Man, I'm an old man.
Soon as he's settled in again, he continues with the defendant, without Weinstock.
And there's probably going to be a changeover in personnel. Are setting it for trial June 9th, or if you were wanting to waive speedy, we would set it for July 15th.
I would like to get it done as fast as possible.
Upon investigation by the Florida Judicial Qualifications Commission, Judge Murphy was charged with threatening to commit violence against an assistant public defender, engaging in a physical altercation with counsel, and resuming his docket while defendants were without counsel. The case ascended to the state Supreme Court, which ordered a permanent removal of Judge Murphy from his office.
Charged Judge John Murphy with threatening to commit violence against an assistant public defender, engaging in a physical altercation with counsel, and resuming his docket while defendants were without counsel. The immediate suspension and permanent removal of Judge Murphy from his post.
We now move to King County Courtroom in Seattle, Washington, where the defendant, Christopher Teel, stands accused of first-degree rape and unlawful imprisonment. Teel was accused of following a woman into the bathroom of a car dealership, locking the door, and raping her. The attack was interrupted when employees broke down the door and restrained Teel. He'd been brought before the court to determine whether he's fit to stand trial.
This is State of Washington versus Christopher Teel, cause number 181391, Seattle designation.
Teel allegedly followed a woman into the bathroom of a car dealership, locked the door, and raped her. Company employees broke into the stall and wrestled Teel to the ground.
Teel has barely been released from his cuffs before he raises his hands at Reed Birkland, his court-appointed attorney who is standing next to him. The court official restrains him.
The jail guard removes Teel's cuffs.
Mr. Teel's present. He's in custody. He's represented by counsel, Mr. Birkland.
He raises his arm toward Birkland, but extra security's at the ready.
Suddenly, Teel slaps his attorney without provocation. He is immediately tackled to the ground by surrounding officers, as Birkland appears unscathed.
Teel's attorney looks to be unhurt.
Struggling against the grip of four men who pin him to the ground, Teel is inevitably overpowered and has a spit hood placed over his head. Attorney Birkland opts not to file charges, but withdraws his services from the case.
Bring the chair. Bring the chair.
A spit hood is placed over his head as officers return him to jail.
About 2 weeks later, Teel returns to the courtroom, strapped this time into a wheelchair. But he is more concerned about getting an explanation for their use of a picture where he has short hair. Subsequently, he gets wheeled away after the trial was rescheduled.
Question, one thing to say. I'd like to know where the they got that photo of me with my short hair. Because that was on Facebook and I don't have a Facebook. Like, do they have access to Google?
The judge schedules another hearing in a week's time.